DeAaron Fox is a player who continues to grow and grow each season. This season, he has become a 20 points per game scorer, and he looks more and more like a star player. The Sacramento Kings has had a down season this year. Fox was out for some time, as well as some other guys, and they couldn't capitalize on their impressive 2018-2019 season, where they looked like a huge threat to challenge the West. Hopefully the Kings get back to that, because this franchise has suffered for way too long. Fox is their building block here. He will be an all-star in the future and their lead point guard. I loved Fox when he was playing at Kentucky, and he had that bond with Malik Monk and Bam Adebayo. One thing you know for sure is that Fox is going to give you tons of effort. He's going to do his best to be a threat on both ends of the floor. He wants to win. He has shown in interviews where he has that mindset where he wants to get better, he wants to improve, and ultimately win. Fox at 22 years old has become much more polished, still has work to do, but he is transforming into an all-around point guard. Fox this season, 51 games, averaged 21 points, 6.8 assists, and 3.8 rebounds on 48% from the field, 29% from 3, and 70% from the free throw line. He has a 55% true shooting percentage on the season. Now, right off the bat, we all know that Fox is the quickest point guard in the league. He can turn on the burners quick, and before you know it, he is at the rim finishing over you. Transition play, pick and roll play, and isolation play, at any moment he can accelerate to the rim. He has a quick first step, the quickest in the league, and that allows him to blow by any opponent. It's tough to keep up with Fox. Because of his speed, it really helps him get to the rim, and he is in that conversation as a player who can get to the rim at will. In isolation, he ranks in the 69th percentile with his ability to blow by opponents with hezzy moves, quick crossovers, and a quick first step, just keeping his defenders on their heels and having them backpedaling. Fox is a really good finisher. He always possesses this ability to finish well at the rim. He can be very left-hand dominant, but nonetheless, he is still able to take contact and finish at the rim. He shot 63% in the restricted area, making 200 shots from there out of 317 attempts. Again, so tough to keep up with, and he has a really good handle, so he can switch speeds at any moment and explode by you. Sometimes he will explode then rise up for a dunk. He can start with a hezzy, then quick crossover, then before you know it, he's already at the rim. Really good at changing speeds, loves doing that in and out dribble to catch his defenders off guard and get into the rim. Athletic guy who can play above the rim at times also. Then at times, he could be a one-man fast break in transition, brings the ball up and get into the rim with ease. This is where he becomes impossible to stop, and you have to have your defense set and a rim protector to try and stop him. Really tough to stop him when he's exploding like that, and defenders have no choice but to try and reach in on him, and this creates a lot of fouls being committed. With his ability to get to the rim, he is able to get a lot of contact and is able to get to the free throw line more. His free throw attempts jumped from 5.1 last season to now 6.7, and he has taken leaps in being that all-around scorer who can draw fouls. He does need to improve on his free throw shooting. 70% is not great, can be better, can be improved on, but at least there are strides in how much attempts he is getting. Fox is also capable of working off the ball, mostly cutting to the rim for a layup. Fox as a shooter has grown from his rookie year. He isn't the best three-point shooter, but he is a good mid-range shooter. He shot 44% in the mid-range, 93 attempts and made 41 shots there. He does opt to take shots much more closer inside. He will take mid-range shots off of pick and roll situations and when teams are playing drop coverage, or if he is able to create some space to get it off when working around the mid-range. His main area of attack is just trying to get it inside, so he isn't going to be using too much of the mid-range. Sometimes when he is in the paint, he will look to go for a floater or just take it in strong. As mentioned before, his free throw percentage has to improve. He's starting to get to the rim more at a high rate, and he must be able to convert these. Fox also has to improve as a three-point shooter. Still a low volume shooter, his percentage regressed a lot from last season. 37% in the 2018-2019 season on around 3 attempts a game to now 29% three-point shooting on around 3 to 4 attempts a game. I don't know whether this is due to injury or just losing his shooting touch, but it's still an area he has to work on. What I am encouraged about his 3-point shooting is his willingness to take them when he has space and is open. He's confident enough to let them fly, but just hasn't been able to convert them at a high level. Fox shoots it at 33% in catch and shoot situations, which isn't the best. He shoots it at 26% in pull-up situations, which really brings his percentage down a lot. He attempts around 2 pull-up threes a game and around 1 to 2 catch and shoot threes a game. He is willing to take 3-point shots when he sees daylight, but he just has to knock these down consistently. It will open up so much of his scoring and not just make him a threat from just inside, but all around the court. Thing is, he doesn't really take bad 3-point shots. Like shots where he is guarded tight or shots where it's really early into the clock. He doesn't take those really bad shots. His shots are mostly open, and it's usually around 15 to 7 seconds in the shot clock where he takes them. This leads me to believe this may be a mechanic issue with his shot, maybe not getting into good enough rhythm, or his shooting form and release are just inconsistent. The only thing missing in his scoring is his 3-point shot, utilizing more of his right hand when finishing and just being more of a mid-range shooter and taking what the defense gives him. This is what will make him one of those top level scorers in the league who can just punish you from anywhere on the court. Teams will start to figure out Fox and try to take away him getting inside, so he has to be able to confidently be able to go into these mid-range shots and knock down his pull-up threes. He is already 22 years old and is a 20 points per game guy, and I know he's a hard worker, so I know he will get better at this. Fox as a playmaker is very capable of being the lead point guard for the Kings. His ability to slash the defense opens up passes to his teammates. 6.8 assists this season, and he's comfortable working in the pick and roll, pick and pop, feeding the bigs, finding shooters in the corners. He can get a bit flashy too sometimes also. As a pick and roll ball handler, he ranks in the 60th percentile, and it's one of his main areas of attack, utilizing screens to attack the defense or set up his teammates. Very capable utilizing the pick and roll, he does have a tendency to miss open guys and read the floor slowly. I am concerned with his high turnovers, average 3.1 turnovers this season, and being above 3 is not a good sight. I get that he has a high usage percentage at 29%, but the best guards are able to take care of the basketball. He isn't the worst guard in this, but you do want him to take care of the ball better and limit those turnovers as much as possible. He does have questionable passes and also just getting stripped. Mentioned before, he doesn't look to take what the defense gives him, and sometimes that leads into turnovers. He will have a really good defender on him and just force it inside, and if he can't get to where he wants to, throws a bad pass, which then leads into a turnover. He's constantly looking to slash up the defense, even at times where there is a guy ready to swoop in and help steal the ball from him. Does result in bad passes, doesn't always read the floor well, and his passing does get sloppy at times, forcing in passes or not using the right pass in the right situation. He does have a bit of the Russell Westbrook tendency of playing too fast and wanting to get to the rim. His decision-making skills can be better, but I'm confident he can be a lead guard. He really has to trim those turnovers and have a consistent feel of what is going on the court. If he is calling a play, is everyone in the right position and knowing when the right moments to drive it in or not? Sometimes the floor isn't spaced properly for him to drive, and he will force it in no matter what. Fox has had to transition from playing at a much more fast-paced system from last season to now playing in a slower pace system, so it could just stem from him learning how to try and slow it down a bit and be more of a facilitator. DeAaron Fox on the defensive end is a solid defender and can get better as a great defender. He's good at picking offensive players' pockets and playing the passing lanes, getting steals. He averaged 1.5 steals on the season, great hands and great instincts in getting steals and forcing turnovers. He looks to give effort on every play, putting pressure on the offensive player. He can just be a pest at times, and you can't dribble carelessly around him because he will strip the ball clean, from you. Really good lateral movement. He fights through screens. He's always looking to keep up with the offensive player and hound him. If he gets beat, he will always fight to catch up and give that effort. Doesn't really have big frames, so at times he does get pushed off center by much more stronger guards. Off ball, he does ball watch sometimes and doesn't look to completely close out on a shooter. He isn't going to guard multiple positions, mostly just going to guard the 1 to 2 positions. Not the best guard in the post, not always consistent. He does give effort, does get sloppy at times, but his effort is there, can really turn it on and play clutch defense. Hustles when the other team is in transition and tries to insert himself to disrupt the play. Now, Fox isn't a lockdown guy. He isn't the best of defenders out there, but he is one of the guards that at least looks to give effort on defense and utilize his physical abilities to put him at an advantage defensively. Doesn't have the longest wingspan or biggest frame, but he is smart and he gives the team a lot of effort on that end to the best that he can. DeAaron Fox right now is the Sacramento Kings. He is the best thing going for them right now, but he still has to grow as a player, and the team has to surround him with the right talent for them to be competitive. Fox, I believe, if he gets to the playoffs, will give his heart and soul to try to win for this team. The Kings just have to put the talent next to him. Fox will be a future all-star. The guard position is tight, but I feel Fox can make an all-star team. He has the tools to be an all-around point guard in the NBA.